Thank you for your patience. I'm going to go ahead and call the Will County Board Land Use and Development Committee meeting to order. If you will all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Ms. Bullock, would you like to lead us today?
Sure, let's do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And then we'll start with a roll call.
Frankie Pretzel,
Here?
Sherry Newquist,
Here.
Herbert Brooks, Don Bullock, Raquel Mitchell, Judy Ogala,
Here.
Destiny Ortiz.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. And we don't have any minutes to approve this month. So we will go on to new business. I am going to lump public comment into new business. So I'll let you speak if you're here for an individual case for that case. I think I need a motion and a second to change the agenda a little bit. We have a request from the attorneys representing the Badger case to move up to number 1. They have a conflict.
Motion Newquist.
Second Ortiz.
I don't need a motion and second for that.
Sorry.
Okay, no motion second. Please call the roll.
Frankie Pretzel,
Yes.
Sherry Newquist,
Yes.
Herbert Brooks, Don Bullock, Raquel Mitchell, Judy Ogala, Destiny Ortiz. Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, number 1 on today's agenda then. Zoning case ZC 26020. Logan Mellett of Badger Daylight Corporation, agent, and Cass Wenland of Wenland and Associates, attorney, for map amendment from C2/R2 to C4 in Homer Township, the vacant property at West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, County Board District number, what is that? What district is that? 3?
No, it's not 3.
Sorry, it's not listed on here.
I think it's 4.
4.
I
We'll
think
go with
it's
4. Can I have a motion and a second to put that on the floor?
Motion Newquist.
Second Ogala.
We have a motion and a second. Staff, do you want to just give us a quick recap? I know we heard this case last month, but
Yeah, so for a quick recap, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, it just sounded a little different. So yeah, quick recap. So yeah, Badger is looking to rezone the parcel that's currently split zone between C2 and R2 to C4 for their hydro excavation company. Yeah, since the last meeting, there was this, it was postponed for further discussion with the Forest Preserve and the village. And since that meeting, we did get, staff received a letter of intent from Badger for the purchase of the northern part of the land by the Forest Preserve, and also an email for the Forest Preserve that they will want to have further discussion if the rezoning is approved and the purchase of the property from Badger is finalized.
Okay, so that's a new development. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I invite Mr. Wenland, I see you here, and the Badger crew, if you guys want to come on up. Welcome back. So we're all very familiar with this one. We just heard the case last month. I don't think we need any kind of a presentation or anything, but you want to just fill us in on what's...
As we were here last month, again, Cass Wenland here, with Logan Malott and Kevin North from Badger. This was postponed till today's date in order to give us time to meet with the Village of Homer Glen and others with regard to try to resolve any sort of differences. Indeed, Badger did that. Mr. Malott been working directly with the mayor and other village officials and such. As you know, unless we reported last time, Badger's tried to accommodate the neighbors' concerns, the village concerns in a number of ways. So the village asked if we'd move the facility further away from residents to about 100 feet or so. Badger said yes. And the village said, would you annex? Badger said yes. And village said, could you give some extra room to the neighbors? Badger said, hey, any of these neighbors that we touch that are adjacent to our facility, we'd give them an extra 50 feet of property. And they said, can you build a bigger berm? Badger said yes. And they said, could you add a full entrance so you wouldn't have to deal with truck traffic on Cedar Road? Badger said yes, and showed how that it could be done. When the Moose had concerns about where the entrance was, said, could you move that some? Badger said yes again. In the end, this is a rezoning request, as you stated, from C4, C2 and R2 to C4, highway commercial on Route 7, State Route 7, with about 20,000 cars a day. 4-lane plus the turn lane, fully improved truck route. It meets all your statutory criteria that's set forth in your zoning ordinance and the case law criteria from those Sal and Sinclair cases from the Supreme Court, also set forth in your zoning ordinance. According to ALEC and your land use staff, it complies with a comprehensive plan and complies with all those criteria as well. We appreciate the opportunity that you gave us to work with the village neighbors. In essence, what the village wanted was to just take a look at another parcel, still on 159th Street, about 700 feet to the west, still on the north side. And so it's not about being on 159th or turning out to there. In fact, that's what asked it to do. Ultimately, we couldn't make that come to fruition. As Alec just mentioned, the talk of what we're going to do with the northern 2/3 of the property is not idle bluff if this is approved. The intent is to deal with the Forest Preserve District to get that into Forest Preserve District hands for preservation. As noted in the email that we received just yesterday from Corey Crawford, the Forest Preserve District, that's a priority property from the 2024 Forest Preserve District plan. So in the end, we appreciate it, the opportunity. We respectfully ask that you just take a vote and move this forward. We understand the political realities of that. At the same time, we're confident in staff's findings, what the proposed uses for on this state highway, the planning that's gone into it, and that from a legal standpoint and otherwise. And we don't make any threats, but we have to make business decisions to move things forward. And so at this point, we need a vote to go forward, whatever that vote may be, to bring it to finality. Of course, we think it should be yes, for the reasons I just stated, but understand. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. One of the main questions, or I guess concerns from some of the residents in the area from last month were, were you going to be filling your trucks with water on site or off site? I think we asked for some more time to determine that.
Well, in the initial discussion was with the village is that we would be amenable, and we met with the village staff, mayor, a trustee, a village manager, et cetera, and asked if we would annex, first of all, in order to use village water, because that would be required. Again, Badger said yes. Ultimately, after receiving neighborhood pushback still from that, the village kind of backed away from that proposal. And the discussion was at the time then, and Mr. Malat offered that we would fill our trucks off-site, no different than they do right now in Shanahan. So they fill their trucks not from the tap, not from a spigot, et cetera, in the village of Shanahan, but directly from village of Shanahan hydrants or other sources for that purpose. And indeed, that was offered by Mr. Malat for this parcel as well.
So here's where I'm at with this one. I just want to be honest with it, you guys and everyone listening. So I like the company. I can see that you guys are jumping through hoops to make this happen. That's not always the case. Sometimes it becomes adversarial. You guys are willing to work with the village, the residents, the Moose Club, anyone that raises a concern. So I appreciate that. I like the business. I think your building looks great. Trucks look clean. I'm not worried about truck traffic. I'm not worried about very much at all, except the actual map amendment, which is why you're here. That's the one concern, that if we give this to you, we do open up the area for other industrial uses or heavy commercial use. And that's really what's weighing on me. So that's, you know, the one thing that I guess, I don't even know how you would address that, but
One thing I would point out, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, didn't mean to cut you off,
go ahead.
is that we're directly adjacent to and immediately adjacent to I-1 zoning right now. And, you know, when we first came to the land use department, our indication was that just because I know how the law works, obviously, is the I-1s next door. We had requested I-1. The land use staff asked that we seek C4 as a less intensive zoning so as to not further spread that I-1. So the C4 request was at the behest of staff when we had initially came there, looking at the I-1 where we fit without any special use because the adjoining property was I-1. So as far as the introduction to zoning, I would think you'd want to start a more commercial pattern and continue with a commercial pattern along 159th rather than continue with the industrial pattern.
Yeah, thank you for addressing that. Member Mitchell?
I don't know if that was their plan though. I mean, like that may be convenient for you, but I don't think that was the Village of Homer's plan to have that zoning
No, and I didn't say
expanded.
that.
Yeah. My question to you is, why didn't the alternative plan work? You gave a list of reasons, a list of things that you did and that were asked of you, and that's appreciated.
Yeah.
That's appreciated. So my question to you is, how did the alternative plan fall apart? Because I thought when we came back, there was some other, that we'd have a different plan. So where did that go wrong?
Very simply and very openly, the property owner who wanted many, many, many times market value, where it's simply no longer feasible.
It's also probably important to know that that was never their choice. That was.
Yeah.
you know,
No, that was
village-
something that was something that was offered by the village, which might have made this issue a little bit better. So
And
I was just wondering what happened to it. That's all.
And not so much offered by the village. They basically said, if you go over and talk to that guy and you're able to buy his property, then we wouldn't
Right,
object.
no,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was an idea or thought or whatever, an alternative.
And we were open to that. too. Yeah, and that's another good point. Thanks. Of that parcel, only about 50% is unusable. Is usable. Just the lay of the property, floodplain, et cetera, and would require acquiring property from an adjoining landowner. And the adjoining landowner is the Forest Preserve District, who doesn't really, not amenable to parting with assets. So
Member Brooks.
I think somebody was there before me.
Okay.
Nope.
What a gentleman. What a
All
gentleman.
right. I'm always a gentleman, always a gentleman. Thank you. Cass,
Yeah.
you did, and our chairman said you and the principal did a very good job presentation last month. However, we chose to postpone it and bring you back. Today, you mentioned that there's a timeline. It almost sounds like to me that the sand in the hourglass begin to run out. Are you guys against some type of a timeline where it's
Yeah.
very important on today that we make a decision?
Well, if there were some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, we have a contract, okay? We're not the owners yet, okay? We have a contract with the seller, okay?
Mhm.
Which includes giving us time to seek such things. And most importantly, at this point,
Mhm.
we've done our other physical inspections of the property, the government approvals, your rezoning,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
We've already asked to extend that before.
Okay.
And if we can tell him, and we told him, we think there may be some light at the end of the tunnel in order for them to grant that extension, okay?
Mhm.
And I have to be honest with him too, and say, is there light at the end of the tunnel? Do I think that this is going somewhere that we could get a resolution, get the entitlements through the county board? Or what do I have to
But
tell?
Cass, that sounds good. That
Yeah.
sounds good. However, my question is there a timeline that sounds like maybe some pressure is put on us that we have to?
Yeah.
No, okay,
Not at all, not at all. I'm just saying that I'm not here
okay.
asking for you to postpone again because I can't give you a good reason why you should.
No, I understand. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, who's
It's
that?
me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I have a question for you and then I have a question for staff. So are you guys going to annex?
We have been fully open to it, not only been fully open to it, offered to do so with the village in a direct meeting, okay? And initially, that was a meeting we sat with the mayor, like I said, one trustee, village manager, other staff members, and their attorney. And that's the road that was going down. And then the village, because of, I don't know, you'd have to ask them, but I think it coincided with the time they were getting neighbor pressures who still didn't want the project there, period, pulled back away from that. We did not, so.
Okay, so at this point, you have no active plans to annex.
If,
Barring-
the village would have to change
Right.
their position, yeah.
So then have you made a decision about, so are you going to have to fill the trucks with off-site water then?
If that's what's left to us, because we can't annex, because we can't get to their water, because we can't get to sufficient water source, then yes, that's how we run our business. No different than we do right now in Shannon. So.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. And then for staff, so I have an issue with, I know the packet states that they are going to store, that they will have the ability to store hazardous waste overnight. And I know at the last meeting, we determined that that was an error. That wasn't going to be, in fact, the case. They had no plans to store any hazardous waste. But my problem is, unless we make a change to this or see something in writing, we are literally voting, if we voted to approve this, to allow them to store hazardous waste overnight.
All this is on record here, is the U District word. So all of our statements then and now, and Logan can really fill you in on that because it's addressed.
I have no doubt that you are not storing hazardous waste. I don't have, but my question, my point is, we have been told by our state's attorney that we can only vote what's on the official record. We are not allowed to vote on any information provided outside of a public hearing. So the information about not storing hazardous waste was technically given to us outside of a public hearing. So I just want to see something in writing, and I think this is on us, not on you guys. I want to see something in writing, either an amendment or an attachment of some sort, that you won't be, or condition that you won't be able to store hazardous waste overnight. That's my issue.
Badger is not licensed to haul hazardous waste in the state of Illinois at all.
Oh,
That's a licensing thing. We don't even haul hazardous
I
waste.
understand that. This is on us, not on you guys. I mean, we're essentially saying in whatever we're voting on here that you can store hazardous waste overnight. How do we change that so that we're not opening that door? That's all I'm
If I
asking.
could, you could certainly, and I don't want to step on Mr. Guzman's toes or otherwise, if there was a text amendment to your ordinance for what's allowed in C4, that would be one thing. But the other thing is that at the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission, this same matter was addressed and was the same thing was stated. So it was stated in a public hearing.
Okay, I just wasn't at that public hearing. So then I guess my question to our state's attorney is, do we need something in writing, or is that what was stated at the public hearing sufficient?
Just grab a mic from another
Need a
desk.
mic.
So I need to drop it now? No, I'm just kidding. So what's on the agenda I'm looking at, I wasn't at the last meeting either, so I apologize. But it looks as if this is simply a request for a map amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so essentially, under the ordinances, anything that's being requested and that's allowed to be done under the map amendment, if granted, is what can occur. But I think Mr. Wendland's indicating that on the record, they've already said they're not planning on storing any hazardous waste. Does that sound correct?
Yes, we can't. They're not licensed to in any event. And the only thing I suggested was simply, before any such use starts, if you had a text amendment to your ordinance for what's that being allowed in C4, that would be binding on us before the use started.
Right, and we don't have anything to that effect now. But I think putting it on the record already, saying they're not going to do it is good. But more importantly, I think the licensure, what Mr. Wendland indicated, is required per state law to do this. So because of that, it can't occur.
Well, I
There-
guess my question would be though, what if they got it? And I'm not saying any of this is going to happen, you guys. I'm not accusing you of anything, believe me. What would happen if they did get a license to store hazardous waste?
If that's allowed under the zoning that the county board grants,
I don't know.
well, I'm just saying if it is, and that would have to be staff's answer on that. But if it is, certainly they would be allowed to do so if they've gotten a licensure and our zoning allows it.
Because it does state in the packet that they are going to, which is incorrect. I mean, I'm not, I don't mean to, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. It was just an honest error. It says in the packet that they are going to store hazardous waste overnight when, under the conditions when they had hazardous waste and there wasn't a landfill available that would accept it, they were going to temporarily store it overnight until the next day. That's what it says in the packet. And I just want to I just would be more comfortable seeing something that says they can't do that.
Well, certainly I understand, but whatever your ordinances allow under that particular zoning district of what they're requesting, if granted, would be allowed.
I would just suggest again, though, and I was here at the last meeting, when you were adopting text amendments with regard to your solar farm requirements and such, you do have the ability to amend your ordinance. This is what we're calling a map amendment. You have the ability to have text amendments, including what's allowed in those zoning districts. And if that happens, prior to the time our use starts, that would be binding on us. So if you're looking from some extra layer, it's there.
Yeah. Can we move on from that, or are you not sure?
I know,
Yeah,
because
please.
the thing is,
Staff, do you have anything to add to this?
we'd have to make that amendment prior to,
Right, we can't amend the map amendment, but,
right? But if we impose
well,
that.
what they're saying
amendment-
right now is if there was any hazardous material on that site, they'd have to hire a company to bring it because they can't bring it. They're not licensed to bring
No,
hazardous
I
material.
understand, but if they got licensed, would we in effect be allowing them to store hazardous waste? No one's been able to answer that question for me yet.
Well, yeah, I understand the question. That it has nothing to do with them. That's more of a county,
It would affect my vote.
Can I ask?
fair enough. Please.
Where does it say that? Because the only thing I'm seeing is that any contaminated material will be identified in advance and managed under a manifest generated. I don't see anything about hazardous waste at all. So
Logan can speak directly to that.
Yeah, so we're not in the hazardous waste business.
no,
So
I understand. I'm just looking in the text.
Correct.
I'm looking in the packet to see what she's talking about. I'm not saying I'm with you. I
I
get
can
you.
speak to what your point was if you'd like me to.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So what we consider a contaminated load is material that comes from digging pole holes for ComEd. ComEd has very specific guidelines on where they want their material to go. Those are considered manifested loads, and it goes to a facility that ComEd designates. It's still not hazardous. It's still clean dirt and water, but ComEd treats their material as well as NPL and NICOR very specifically, and they want their material delivered to a specific facility. Still not hazardous. We still test loads as part of our general process.
Thank you.
If
Hold on.
if you look on page 3,
The lawyers,
bullet 2.
the lawyers have a comment.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was informed the hazardous waste would be allowed in industrial only, and even then, it would require a special use permit.
Then that satisfies me.
Okay, sorry to cut you off.
Just to let Dawn know, it's on page 3, the second bullet. That's where they address.
It does
potential
not say
waste.
hazardous waste.
It does. It says through the hydrovac excavation, it says contaminated. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
very
It
different.
says contaminated.
Those
You're
are
right.
different things.
You're
And
right.
that's what Logan was getting to. But his point was, we don't deal with hazardous at all. But even in this and stuff, contaminated soil, what ComEd or NICOR considers contaminated, that's taken by manifest to a special facility, not here.
Thank you.
Sorry about
No,
that.
that's okay. Member Ogalla, your light's on. Did you have a comment?
Thank you, yes. So we're kind of in a situation here where the residents don't like what's happening, and I understand that. I know, being the president of the Forest Preserve, I had the conversation with staff regarding if they were purchasing this other property, could we do a land swap? And we don't swap lands at Forest Preserve. We keep what we have, and we would be happy to take some more, but we don't swap lands for a project. That's not our policy. So they, even if they did purchase that other property, if it weren't very expensive for them to do that, we would not do that as a Forest Preserve. Because of the fact, in my opinion, that they're right next door to industrial, that is very bad. So for me, for them just going to C4, which does not allow hazardous waste, industrial would, it makes more sense to allow the zoning to a C4 than to allow somebody else to come in, want to go to I1, and then we end up in a situation with, well, we have I1 here, and they want to do I1 right next door. Then we deny it, and then we have other complications due to that. So I'm going to be a yes vote on this because I think it makes sense to do C4 instead of I1. I know that they've been working with these other groups to try and amend things, and they have stated they would annex, which would help the village to protect other things, 'cause they have a little more authority then. So that's just going to be my vote, so.
Thank you. Okay, don't go far, but I do want to make sure that anyone that's here to comment on this case has an opportunity to talk. Is anyone here from the village? Or, yeah, come on down. If you guys want to have a seat at the first couple desks. Perfect timing, Mayor. Come on down. Okay.
Okay, I wasn't planning on speaking. My name is Joyce Hale. I'm a resident of Cedar Glen subdivision. I spoke last month and at all the other meetings. So basically, one of the reasons that they were allowed an extension for this month is to resolve the water issue. I still don't hear that they are positively have a plan to do water. Logan offered to do it off-site, but there still isn't a solid plan of that. Last week, I found out my well needs to go deeper without them even there. I'm going to spend $20,000 minimum for my well to go deeper. I am 3-4 houses away from where their property is. Water is a huge issue. All of us are starting to have to go deeper without them pulling off of it. And I know that they claim, we're going to do it outside, we're going to do this, but they keep on coming up with, well, we intend to, what if? Yes, they are trying to make accommodations for us and change the plan, and that's great. It's nothing against the company itself. It's nothing against the people themselves. The fact of the matter is, this does not belong adjacent to our community, adjacent to houses. That still doesn't solve the diesel fuel that no berm of any size is going to prevent. We are downwind and we will have diesel fuel all the time. There will be dust. We will never be able to have our windows open again because there will be constant dust from their parking lot, because I can't imagine they're paving all of that. So there's just a lot of what ifs still. There's not a solid plan of that remaining property going to the forest preserve. Well, we intend to do this. These are all non-committal words that, in my opinion, in the opinion of all of our residents in Cedar Glen, are dangerous because they don't have a solid plan. There are other options. They just don't want to pay for those options of the land. All they talk about is how expensive they are, how much money they make. If they want to be in Homer Glen, then let them pay the extra amount of money that it takes to be in Homer Glen. I don't have a problem with them being on 159th Street. I have a problem with them being in our backyards. And for it to even be considered or even compared to the storage facility that is adjacent is not the same. As I stated last month, I've maybe seen 10 vehicles in and out of there in the year or however long they've been there. It's not the same as 30 industrial trucks moving in and out, taking how much water, even though they still, and that was a condition of today. They were supposed to have a solid plan for water today. They still don't have that. So I'm obviously very passionate about it. I'm very upset. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I just wanted to, again, restate how against all this, how against this we all are, and that it's a mistake. You just don't go from a majority of R2 zoning to C4. And that doesn't automatically mean that we get to, that somebody else can come in and put in I1. It doesn't make sense. And I hope you guys take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Hello, my name is Kathy Reinhardt, and I live in the Cedar Glen subdivision also. And I think I speak for most of the homeowners in Cedar Glen. And I apologize if I repeat some things. I'm not hearing very well. It's really hard. But we're not against the Badger business, but every business has a proper place. Next to our homes is not the proper place for this kind of business or any other industrial types. And you've heard all the reasons why it's not the proper place. The noise, the lights, the dust, the traffic. And the neighbors that back up to the property have already expressed to me that in the winter, when all the leaves are down, they see the lights from the storage facility. So we're going to have lights, no matter how hard they try to accommodate it, we're going to have a lot of the effects coming over to us. It's just unavoidable. And it sounds, again, like Joyce said, there's too many what ifs about this. Why are we going to be voting on this until there is a clear plan? But the water issue I'd like to bring up, I also have had, my well has been struggling for years. And I was told by my well company, so this is proof, my well isn't keeping up with the demand because the water table is getting lower in the area from more homes and businesses tapping into it. My well is at 325 feet. The second time it has been dug deeper. And I was told the next good water source is between 500 to 750 feet. It would be a huge expense to go 300 to 400 feet deeper. So right now, for 10 years, I can't water my grass. I have to use my water sparingly. And I have a hard time believing that Badger would pay the high cost of American water, if that was still a thought, for the amount of water that they need. And they're saying they're going to go fill at off location, and they may start out that way, but if it's not documented or if the zoning is allowing it, they could decide to dig wells. It would be much more cost effective for them. So it makes a good business sense. So I'm asking the Land Use Committee, would you want this kind of business in your backyards? I ask you to please stand up for the people. The homeowners were given letters so that we may have a say-so in this matter. Please do the right thing. Back us up. We're counting on you, and vote no to the rezoning property. Thank you.
Hi, excuse me. I am Sue Stylen with Homer Township. I'm the supervisor. Nothing has changed with Homer Township's position on this parcel being rezoned. From the R2 to C4, or yes, R2 to C4 is very concerning. I am encouraged to hear about the Forest Preserve's interest, but without an absolute guarantee, that's scary. And I think, as the realtor pointed out, it is a difficult parcel to sell because it is narrow and long. But I would think that any other property owner might consider selling to the Forest Preserve as well and using the C2 designation and having a business there. The Homer Township is anticipating 1,000 new homes this year. So the community is growing. And at the last meeting, the realtor said that the commercial area is not going to happen in this segment of 159th. And I want to say that I would disagree with that. If you just look west of 355 at what Lockport has, the same thing could occur on the east side of 355 as well. And Lockport has a downtown. It doesn't mean that just because we have businesses on Bell Road, that that's going to be our only commercial area for our community. The C2 to C4 is concerning because C4 allows for towing vehicles to be stored there, not just what they're doing. Badger has been in their location in Shanahan, I believe, for 14 years. What if they're only here for 14 years at this location? No one has a guarantee of how long a business is going to be there. So having that C4 designation is a concern. We are struggling with businesses along 159th Street, storing trucks, whether they're permitted or not. It's confusing. I emailed all of you I sent you all an email this morning. I don't expect you at all have had a chance to view it, but we do have a concern with the I-1 zoning that is there, is dumping fluid onto residential property. And what is hazardous waste? If it comes from what I understand, if it's excavated from a sewer treatment that's governed by public use, it's not hazardous waste. But if it's coming from industrial use, it is. Now, maybe ComEd and NICOR have places that they can take their materials to, but really, what are all of those materials? They say they're not licensed to do it, and we trust that they're not going to do that. I'm not sure. After what I saw being dumped from that truck behind the residential property 2 weeks ago, it gives me great concern about what is being stored on that property. So it's not, it's about the use of the property. I really believe that it's not against Badger. I think that they do seem honest and genuine, sincere about being good neighbors. But the designation, the changing of the zoning is still concerning to me. And that a quote that came to my mind when I've been reflecting on this is that good things come to those who wait. And maybe this zone, we feel pressured to accept this zoning just so that we can have sale of a property and encourage this, help this business out. But to me, it's still inappropriate. Thank you.
I have a copy of an email I sent yesterday. Just want to make sure it's in the. There's one for each of you. And thank you very much for allowing the residents to have their say. Really appreciate that. I want to thank all the residents of Cedar Glen. Many of them came to the initial planning commission meeting. They came last month. They came today. All of their objections are well said and all very relevant, and I won't repeat any of that stuff. Okay, you were gracious to vote a month ago to table the matter for a month to allow some space for the village and Badger to work out a possible alternative. So we've all heard, and we'll probably hear more from the mayor and the village about some of the details, but at the end of the day, there was no other location that's either, I guess, suitable or affordable, whichever you want to say. So I guess the only option seems to be this parcel of land that's sitting right next to an established residential subdivision and a Moose Lodge picnic grove. So this is the point I'm going to make is that, and I did this at the last meeting, what is the purpose of zoning land to begin with, right? Zoning of land and the use of that land is driven by a well-documented process, historical process called comprehensive planning of the local municipalities. 159 frontage is envisioned as the economic engine for these municipalities. The village of Homer Glen, Homer Township, and the city of Lockport have well-defined plans for 159th Street. You could go read them. And that vision is not industrial. So the discussion of what happened with the storage facility, we'll just let that sit. I don't think the storage facility needed an I-1 zoning, but they got it and it set a precedent. If you read the comprehensive plans, the vision of all of them is for resident-friendly commercial. Sue just mentioned Lockport is a shining example. They have commercial in front and residential in the back, just west of what we're talking about here. This decision today is not just about a few residents and the Moose Lodge just complaining that it's, something next door to us. It's much bigger than that. This is going to set another precedent. So you got to think about that. I mean, we don't want this to happen. C4 is not appropriate. This rezoning case has caught the attention of 660 plus residents via an online petition. 64% of that 660 live in a proximate to this particular parcel. So I think it's very relevant. In addition, Joyce, who spoke, walked around herself and got a petition of almost every resident in Cedar Glen subdivision that's been submitted, and it's part of the record. So at the end of the day, I remember I watched the video of last month's meeting, and at the very end, there was a lot of discussion. I know 2 board members were actually vocalized that they were going to be a no vote, which was appreciated. Others were on the fence for very good reasons. I mean, Badger is a decent company. But this is, to me, it's like the analogy of trying to put a square peg in a round hole. The land was zoned C2, R2 for a reason, and it matches the comprehensive plans. So the concept of just rezoning it because it's affordable, it's whatever, just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. So asking you to do the right thing, please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Christina Knightsky-Troike, Mayor of Homer Glen. The last time we met, you guys tabled it to allow us time to meet with Badger and trying to find another location. We worked really hard. We worked really good together trying to find another location, in which we did find another location. Unfortunately, Badger feels that that price range is a little too much for them. As we stated last time, my testimony is still the same. I apologize that some of you were not here to hear it last time, but I hope you listened to it because it had some really strong points in there. As Mr. McGowan just stated, this is 36.6 acres we're talking about, 36.6. 7 of those are zoned commercial. The remaining is residential. You're looking at changing residential to C4. The Village of Homer Glen does have a plan for 159th Street. When the storage unit came in, all right, fine. We weren't happy about that, but it's not too big of a burden on us right now. But once you allow more and more, it just sets a precedent. It wasn't too long before that Mr. Kettler came and you guys denied his rezoning. Why would you deny one, allow another, and now this one's in the middle? If you do this, it's just going to open up the floodgates. As Mr. McGowan just said, what's the point of what's the point of zoning anything if we just come to you guys and you guys are going to change it on us? We need to stick with our plan. You guys had a plan for 143rd Street and you still went through it even though the numbers didn't show. We have a plan for this property. And again, like I stated last time, I'm friends with all of the people involved, the attorneys, the landowners, the realtor. I'm friends with everybody. But sometimes when it comes to friendships, you still got to do what's right for the residents. These residents do not want this in their backyards, and I can't blame them. Badger's a great company. They're amazing to work with. They're very kind. And like I said, we worked long hours trying to find another location, and we did. It just came down to the pricing. And yeah, it was a little much, I agree, but that's what realtors are for and negotiations are for. But this property does not belong in Homer Glen, in this location. Like I said, precedents, we have the turning issues, we have the truck sizes, we have the weight limit, we have the fact that, like I stated already, you're changing roughly 30 acres from residential to C4. And then what about the future? What if Badger doesn't last there and another industrial wants to come? We can't stop that. I wasn't here earlier for the testimony. Unfortunately, I had something happen this morning that I had to be at. But I was made aware that something about annexation, that I pulled back on something about reannexation. I don't know what that's all about, but we're happy to annex all of 159th Street into Homer Glen, which is our plan, is what we're going to do. As I said, we found another location. I even went as far as contacting Chairman Ogala regarding the Forest Preserve. Even the Forest Preserve was involved, and new landowners who I see here today, Mr. Lacascio. We made moves and we were going to change things for the Forest Preserve. Land was going to be donated and flip-flopped. This was a beautiful plan. Everyone was in agreement. The village board was in agreement. Everybody was on the plan. And then 2 days ago, I was told that that property wasn't going to work out. So I'm asking you guys, please do not rezone this to C4. It would be detrimental to our plan in the village of Homer Glen and to the residents nearby.
Can I ask you why
Sure.
you're okay with the other property, which is, my understanding, just 700 yards
Sure.
away? And not
Well,
this one.
so the one that we're looking at is, okay, so you have the storage unit. You guys know where the storage unit is? We are just asking for the purchaser, the Badger, to move to the west of that because to the west towards Gauger Road is more industrial. The village of Homer Glen is putting their wastewater treatment plant on Gauger and 159th Street. And then there's a long strip parcel that really you can't really do much with. So anything sort of say industrial, light industrial C4 would fit that way. There's no homes over there. There's this property we're talking about has a beautiful turn in, so they can turn in from the right or the left. They can come out east or west. It's perfect for them to go onto or to be there. Anything to the east is residential, commercial, where we can have sales tax revenue coming and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
It's mainly the residents.
Member Mitchell, did you have a comment, question?
Yeah. So many questions.
Sure, that's what I'm here for.
I'm just trying to formulate. All right, so this is a bit of a mess because part of it is that Badger is a great company, much to your, thank you for being a great company, Badger, I guess.
And the residents are great residents.
And the residents are great residents. And it seems like so far, before you arrived, Badger was saying that they've gone through all the things that you asked them to do. They've been very willing to work with you on those things. I'm wondering why. I think I asked this last time. Why didn't you just tell them this is a bad play? Like, why did it get this far?
So in the very beginning, we put
Yeah.
our legal objection in right away. When I was under the impression that the county was looking as moving forward and rezoning, because we've seen it happen before, right? We're told this won't happen, then boom, it happens, and then we're stuck stranded with the original plan. So my hopes were, if this was to go through and shove down our throats in Homer Glen, that there would be, you take the lesser of two evils, right? You kind of say, well, if this is going to go through, let's try to make it the best we can for these residents, even though it's shoved down our throats. Sometimes you got to, make lemonade out of lemons, right?
I believe that.
So when it came down to, it wasn't enough of because there was questions, the water, annexing in, the wastewater, all of that, the pollution, the turning of the trucks, it just got to be too much. And once I sat down with individual trustees at the Village of Homer Glen and the township supervisor and their trustees, it kind of put a big burden on our plan for 159th Street. So if it just moved to the west, just 2 properties over, it would fit. It still wouldn't be perfect, but again, lesser of two evils would be to move to the west of the storage unit.
And then my final question.
Sure.
And that is, so on 159th Street is pretty much a major road.
Illinois State, yeah.
And so you're gonna put residential there?
It's zoned residential, so commercial is, so you have 159th Street, and then there's commercial up front
Right.
attached to 159th, and then behind it is all the residential.
Okay.
Just exactly where,
So what would you put in the property where they're proposing this? What would be there if they weren't coming?
well, commercial would be in the front, the 7 acres, and then the residence would be in the back
Like,
attached
so
with them.
like
Member Mitchell.
clothing store.
It
I'm just
says-
asking the question.
It says small to moderate scale retail services.
That's what I was
vertical
Yes.
mixed
Yeah, that's
use
what I was
developments
asking.
With
going
non-residential
down there.
uses on the ground floor.
Right, I was going down that path.
So inline retail, a dry cleaner.
Right,
A
I
cookie
got it.
store, a Starbucks.
Because there is nothing over there for them. They don't have retail. They don't have a grocery store. They don't have a Starbucks right on the corner. They have a gas station. So we want to build up, because you got to remember, there is going to be residential all around there. We need to reserve some commercial space for them to have
So
things to go to.
that was your hope. And is
Yes.
there any, this is where I was going with this. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
There's a point. I'm sorry if I have to walk it because my brain doesn't.
No, I'm on the same
So are there any prospects for any of that to be there is where I was going with that question.
I don't know, because I'm not in the real estate business for
Right.
them. I do understand that the location is hard to sell because we don't have water running there right now, which we do. Our wastewater treatment plant will be done by 2030.
Okay.
So I'm on the same line of questions here, and this is why I'm struggling so much with this. So if we deny this today, permitted use would allow an inline retail center to go in there. If it's a 7 Brew, you're going to have hundreds of cars going in there. If it's a,
Cars are okay.
well, I get it. So I guess my question is, if we say no to 30 trucks, but yes to hundreds of cars, a dry cleaner, a 7 Brew, nothing but.
We want that. We
Whatever
want
it might be.
cars.
So, does that, and then in the back, we're talking several acres of new construction homes. So if we say yes, it's going to be this one building with trucks. It's not, there's not going to be dust. I've seen it's going to be a paved lot. They're keeping their trucks covered. And then behind it, they're going to donate it to the Forest Preserve, which I think is a win for the Forest Preserve and for the residents of Homer Glen. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I love Homer Glen. I love what you're doing with it. I love the people of Homer Glen, but I do get this sense that they don't want any change to Homer Glen, right? And that's okay. They moved there. They love it, but change is coming. And does this have a negative impact on them, or are they going to complain or object to anything that's going to come in there?
So
How do you address that?
Sure. So as you know, in Homer Glen, we survive off sales tax, gaming, and gas tax. So we want residents. That's how we survive. So when people go to these commercial stores, 7 Brew or a grocery store, or whatever it may be, that's how we survive. So if we put in if we put Badger goes in, there's no revenue for our residents. So we don't want trucks, but we want customers. We want people from other towns to come in and shop in our locations. If we build a residential unit on the properties nearby, where are those residents going to go to get their 7 Brew? Where are they going to go to get groceries or whatever it may be? They're not going to have that. These residents that currently live there now, they're going to be on an island surrounded by storage units and trucks filled with water. We have a plan for them, which is commercial along that corridor.
I understand. Member Newquist?
This is a really simplistic question, I know.
Sure.
But why not just annex the property now?
I'm
and then
so
you
glad.
can zone it however you want to.
I'm so glad you asked that question. So they were going to annex in. We had all the paperwork ready, the
No,
home.
I mean with the current owner.
Yes, with the current owner, yes. They were going to annex in roughly about a year ago. We had all the paper ready to go. And then all of a sudden this came about. So they kind of put the annexation on hold. That is our plan, to annex all of it in. But they stopped due to this project because they thought it would be easier to go through the county to get it passed than it would be to the village.
So do you think that if we denied this project, the current owners would annex into the village of Homer Glen?
They've already said that they would, yes. I've had
Okay.
multiple conversations with them on that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Sorry, we're going long here. Member Ogala, are you putting your, okay. Thank you, Mayor.
I'll be right over there if you need anything else.
I'm Bonnie Willis, and I am the realtor. A couple things were mentioned about things that I had said, and I just wanted to clarify. This property is 642 feet wide, and I think it's like 2,300 feet deep. Shopping in this area is probably not, there's not going to be big box stores, there's not going to be a Walmart, a grocery store isn't going there due to the density. I know they had mentioned about housing being in the back, but as traffic was always mentioned about on 159th Street, and that would definitely bring a lot of traffic. Sewer is not going to be available for 6 years there. The sellers are stakeholders. I have talked to them as well, and they have been wanting to sell this property for about 15, 20 years. And we finally got somebody, I've had it marketed for a long time, and we finally have somebody that was willing to go there that didn't require the sewer and water, that they could do their own thing. However, Badger is willing to annex, as they mentioned, and so if they want to annex, they can. But let me paint a little bit better picture. You've got Gauger Road, which has the gas and wash. You have Forest Preserve property. This is on the north side of 159th Street. Then you have the Amish furniture. It's a pole barn with furniture, nice furniture in it, and the landscaper behind it. Then you have the storage facility, who does not have any interest in annexing. Then you have this parcel, and then you have the Lockport Moose Picnic Grove. Then you have John Bays, who also doesn't want to annex at this point. He's for it. And then you have Dahl's Landscaping, and then you have Ketlar, and then there's that open area going towards Cedar Road. Across the street, you have a church, a house way in the back. You have my neighborhood, which my neighbors are fine with it. They would prefer that than housing. You also then have another neighborhood, and then you have Barry's Landscaping, which takes up a huge part of it, and then it was a bank building, but I don't know what it is. So that little section there of that property, this is not out of character to be in there. And it will be, they have a pond in the front. I don't know if you've seen the landscaping of it, but they have a beautiful pond in the front. Forest Preserve is definitely interested in it. They know it. They're part of the board members. We did a letter of intent to them, and they are obligated to do it. They have no reason, they have no use for that property. So once it's Forest Preserve in the back, that's what the neighbors are going to see mostly. Once they see that, it's going to be beautiful property for them. If you have questions for me, I'm willing to, take any questions that you have. There was something else that was mentioned, but I can't remember what it was that I was going to talk about. But, the people who own it are stakeholders in Homer Glen too, and they want to sell. And a residential neighborhood won't come for many, many years because they're not going to build, residential is not going to build until they have access to sewer. So
Thank you.
that's just facts I was going to say. Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we do have a question for you if you want to come back up.
Your question first, and then I'll say.
So I keep hearing about the forest preserve, and then I heard we have a letter of intent. But then I heard that the forest preserve is interested. I know that.
Mhm.
But is the intent to donate that land to the forest preserve, or is the intent to sell it to the forest preserve?
We're open to that conversation. So we have no use for the back of the land, whether we donate it or sell it to the forest preserve. We've never done a transaction with the forest preserve, so I don't know what your preference is. That's why we put lots of options. So I know.
We prefer it
Yeah,
donated.
not pay.
I know. So again, we're open. We have no use for the back of the land. We've made that clear multiple times. And are glad to entertain whatever the best structure is. Once we, acquire the property, then we can have more of a binding conversation. Right now, we don't technically own the property, as Cass stated. So I can't commit to zoning to Homer or annexing to Homer Glen, donating the property. I don't own the property today, so I couldn't even commit to that until the zoning's approved.
Okay, and my last question then is, of the 36 acres, give or take here or there, what portion would be used for your business, and what portion would be donated or sold to the forest preserve?
The engineers have drawn out, we need approximately, you call it 14 to 16 acres, depending on, once they get in there, we'll have to do soil sampling, anything like that. We're going to have to put in detention ponds. So everything right now has just been done on an engineered drawing. But again, the back portion of the property, I'd say at least the back 50% is probably, it has no usage for us. Plus it drops off to the creek in the very back as well. So we've shifted our building around the property to try to accommodate the residents. We shifted things over, shifted the entrance over, the driveway, as well as shifted the building slightly off center in the property, which actually makes it a little bit more congested, usage on the west side of the property for our use. But again, we're trying to accommodate the residents by moving it as far over and still having access to both sides of the building without moving it up against the property line, which just wouldn't be feasible for, usage of the building up against the property line.
Thank you.
That'd bake out to 22 to 24 acres.
Right.
A couple of things that I want to say, and I didn't mean to cut you off if there's any other questions. With regard to the other property to the 700 feet to the west, and again, pointing out about the commercial corridors, they're talking about 700 feet west on the same 159th Street, say as far as what they envision for community, retail, commercial. That property, again, not just a matter of price, as we pointed out previously, when we were up here, about half of it's usable due to floodplain, the lay of the land, et cetera, and would require additional property then from the Forest Preserve District. And then our response to the Forest Preserve District, what was just reiterated by you, is that they can't do that. They can't accommodate it. So that's just not an option. And addressing the question that the mayor raised, well, where is the community retail going to go? Where is the community commercial? Where are they going to go? Where's the 7 Brew going to go? We know where they're going to go. In Homer Glen, they're going over on Bell Road or on 159th East of Bell Road, where that commercial traffic is. And if it's in Lockport, they're going over there west of Gallagher Road and west of 355 to where that community commercial is, to where there's other businesses out there to that serve like that. There's Popeyes, you've got car dealers, you've got Pops, you've got Crumble Cookie, you've got a lot of other uses right there. That's where they're going.
16343 West 100. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so we have any other questions?
Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Wendland, I have
Yes.
one question for you. So the 36 acres, it's 2,000 feet deep or whatever.
It's 38 or but you're
How many,
38.6.
right now, what is the C2 portion of
The
that?
C2 is how many feet deep? Barney or somebody had that
What's that?
acreage. And
5 acres.
Based
I don't want to make any
on,
misstatement, so yeah.
Yeah, based on our GIS, it's about, of course I know it. Oh, it's about like 3 acres.
Okay. No argument.
You guys ready to vote on this? You have any other Yeah, this is a tough one. Is there anyone else here from the public that would like to make a comment on this case before we vote? Last chance. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You know, every few months we get these super tough ones. This is one of them because I personally don't have any problems with it. I actually think the back portion of this that they are looking to donate to the Forest Preserve is where the residential homes currently are. So there's going to be no impact to them, even though they feel right now like it will be. It's a beautiful property. There's no gravel parking lot. I don't imagine there's all the diesel fumes that they're thinking there might be. I personally don't have a problem with it, but I don't live there. And all these people are here today to object to it. They're worried that this is, Pandora's box. And as soon as we give the C4 here, who knows what's coming next? So that's why it's a tough one. Okay, so as you guys all know, we're going to vote on this today. That'll kind of be our recommendation for the full board meeting, which is next Thursday. And that's the vote that really matters. So I'm going to go ahead and call the roll.
Yep. Sherry Newquist,
Oh, sorry, we do it. Sorry, Mr. Butler.
So I understand this can be tough because when we look at it, we might judge it based on our own autobiographies, but we have to remember that the mayor, the head of the local government, who was voted by the majority of the people, is telling us her economic plan for her community and what works out best. And we've heard from many of the people that live there who agree with her. And, it becomes a bigger issue when you think about it. As we've seen with all the solar and everything, we're really losing our ability to control what's happening in our communities. And I think that when the people come forward and the local government comes forward, that should carry a lot of weight. They've already said that they would allow them to put it in a different spot and it would work. So they're being reasonable. But how much more are we going to step into this community and tear apart their economic plans for their future? And we're doing it in many communities. We're doing it in Homer Glen. We did it in Green Garden. We're probably going to be doing it in Moni. At some point, we got to put our foot down and exercise, our responsibilities to act upon what our constituents want, not what we think is right, but what our constituents want. There is a path for both to go forward here, and I would ask you to consider that.
I appreciate your comment, Mr. Butler. Thank you. Okay, you can call the roll.
Sherry Newquist,
Yeah, this is tough. I'm a yes for now.
Herbert Brooks,
This is tough. I'm a no for now.
Don Bullock.
Yes.
Raquel Mitchell. Judy Ogala.
I will be a no for now.
Destiny Ortiz. And Chairman Frankie Pretzel.
I'm a no for now as well.
3-4.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Good luck. On to the next agenda item, zoning case ZC 25-138. Greenflow Energy LLC is requesting a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility in Moni Township, vacant property on the south side of Drawley Road, east of 7001 Drawley Road, Moni, Illinois County Board District Number 3. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Motion Newquist.
We have a motion. We have a second, Brooks, and then I will turn this one over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this zoning case, ZC 25138, takes place in Moni Township. And as you mentioned, it is on the south side of Drawley Road. It is just east of Harlem Avenue, which is the boundary between Moni Township and Green Garden Township. Excuse me. The parcel is about 20 acres and the special use would apply to the entire 20 acres. The applicant is Greenflow Energy LLC, and they are proposing a 9.4 or about 9.8 megawatt commercial solar energy facility on the southern, actually the entire 20-acre site. The operation, if all lease agreements were executed, it would be 40 years on site. The applicant has proposed to meet the ground cover vegetative plant height requirements and mow 5 times between May and October, so they did not request any variances associated with this request. The panels would be fixed tilt, so there would be minimized glare, usually right at first sun and usually dusk. That would limit, but in terms, based on the glare report said an annual green glare would be 114 hours given a year, and then yellow glare is about 65 hours. But the panels are treated with anti-reflective coating to minimize glare, and then the applicant is also proposing landscaping to minimize glare along the property lines as well. If you are aware of the property, Meadow Creek Air Park is a air park subdivision that is directly south of the property. The applicant has stated in the public hearing they are proposing a berm along that southern property line, again, to just help add additional screening from that subdivision. But in terms of all the required application submittals that are required, the applicant has submitted an FAA no flight hazard determination letter stating that there is no flight impact. They do encourage the use of additional lighting, but usually solar facilities do not use any type of exterior lighting, and the panels are not high enough to warrant any required FAA light standards. They submitted a NRI report that identifies the soil conditions similar to other soil facilities. But in terms of the development, many of the solar facilities that have been installed on less than desirable soil conditions have been successful. The EcoCat and U.S. Fish and Wildlife letters did not, I believe, identify any protected resources. The State Historic Preservation Office stated, or the applicant submitted an application to the State Historic Preservation Office, so staff has reported or recommended a condition that we require proof of compliance with the State Historic Preservation Office at time of permitting so that they continue forward with any reports that usually the state SHPO would require. In terms of the Illinois Pollution Control Board noise compliance, the equipment pad is proposed just north of the pipeline easement on the eastern side of the property, and it's at least 50 feet from the property line. And that's usually what the loudest source of noise is. But a noise report dated February 17th of this year stated that all noise generating equipment at the facility would operate well below the maximum allowable sound pressure levels established by the Pollution Control Board regulations for emissions to a Class A land, which is residential areas. And the facility incorporates comprehensive noise mitigation measures, including perimeter fencing, strategic landscaping, and that setback of the equipment to ensure that minimal acoustic impact on surrounding residential properties are adhered to. The proposed equipment to be installed are all in the staff report, and they are all certified by UL Companies, which is an industry standard required for solar facilities. The interconnection process has started. They have not entered into a final interconnection agreement yet, but they would be required to show that their agreement with ComEd is in fact in place at the time of permitting. They provided liability insurance to staff, and then preliminary operation maintenance plans and emergency response plans were submitted, and I emphasize preliminary. The final emergency response plan is going to be reviewed by the Moni Fire Protection District, and often they help write those plans as well. The applicant submitted construction maintenance routes utilizing I-57 access at the Moni Manhattan Road using Ridgeland Avenue to the east. Moni Township Highway Commissioner also provided a letter acknowledging the project at this stage, and that they would require the survey and road permits at time of permitting. The lease has been submitted on file as part of this application, and the agricultural impact mitigation agreement was countersigned February 18th of this year, which outlines the timeline for financial surety due to the county, and a decommissioning plan be submitted as part of that permit submittal requirement. Financial surety usually is not required to be submitted until a year after the solar facility is operational with ComEd. And then again, the preliminary site plan, and I emphasize preliminary, is provided and shown in the staff report. With that, there were numerous neighbors that came out, concerns, many along Drawley Road Drawley Road, and also within Meadow Creek. They were concerned regarding the negative impact of surrounding properties, regarding impacts to animals, the glare, impacts to property values. One resident brought up her concerns for private insurance rates increasing due to the increase in fire risk. And then, of course, just ruining the beautiful aesthetics of the area. One of the neighbors also stated he is very familiar with aviation, and with Meadow Creek being an airport subdivision, that could have an impact with the planes landing and taking off within that subdivision, that the glare could potentially impact any approaching landing planes, potentially increase of health issues. The applicant is here, and at the public hearing stated that their engineer representative stated that he's been in the business for about 40 years. He's installed systems within airports, and some of the instances or concerns that were brought up, he's never heard before, regarding glare, reflective heat causing turbulence, or additional fire risks. And with that, staff recommended 6 conditions within the staff report. However, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 3-4, thereby denying the special use request for the commercial solar energy facility. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And I invite the applicant to come up to the microphone here.
Could I ask Marguerite before they arrive?
Yeah, please.
Marguerite, how many conditions did you say there were?
6.
6 conditions?
Correct.
And you said the planning zoning board 4-3 to deny? Is that what you said?
Yes. So the vote was 3-4, thereby denying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Please
Welcome.
introduce yourself and then go ahead.
My name is Frank Russo with Greenflow Energy. This is Dr. Everton Walters with WCP Solar. He's the engineer. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your presentation. At our last meeting, we did have some concerned residents in the area, and we want to make sure that we address those concerns because that's important. One of them was the setbacks and the visual of the solar farm to the community to the south of our project. We are going above and beyond what the state and the county recommends as far as setbacks and vegetation. We also proposed last meeting that we'll put in a earth berm at an appropriate height to stop any, to not have any visual of the project. There was also a concern by one of the residents of safety of the project. The whole project, the whole 20 acres will be surrounded by a 6-foot chain link fence, and all wiring, AC and DC, will be underground, minimum of 24 inches underground. There are no batteries on site for solar, for energy storage. There is no real fire risk. We do have insurance to accommodate any unforeseen things of that nature. One of the residents says if a tornado comes through and the panels go onto our land, how's that handled? We'll certainly get it cleaned up, and we have insurance for that. Another resident had mentioned the corrosive effects of some of the racking systems that we use to secure the project to the ground. A lot of what he was talking about was zinc-coated steel. We are not using any zinc-coating steel. We are using aluminum racking systems, which really have no effect on the soil. So that we're very conscious of the soil and keeping it in pristine condition. The other concern was a gentleman, I don't know if he was from the subdivision to the south of this project, but he had some concerns on the glare and some updrafts, heat updrafts that he felt would cause small planes to have issues in navigating. We have never heard of such a thing. Our panels are non-reflective. They absorb heat. They don't reflect it. The FAA study is a no-flight hazard study that they looked at the layout of the project, the location of the project. They determined that there is no hazard to the airport and any flights coming into the airport. I spoke to the airport manager at the Meadow Creek Airfield, Chris Thompson. He says there's approximately a dozen residents that have small planes that fly in and out of that, approximately anywhere from 2 to 5 times a week, weather permitting. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that there's a lot of major airports, Denver International Airport being one of them, that has installed panels on 56 acres, and they don't seem to find any issue with the panels to their commercial flights. Indianapolis Airport, Washington Dulles, Kansas City International, JFK, LaGuardia, and those are some of the big ones. Quincy Regional Airport, Southern Illinois Airport, Quad Cities International Airport, Lake in the Hills Airport. They all have solar panels on their property, and they are fine with it. They've done the studies, and there's no detrimental effect to the flight patterns or safety reasons to airplanes. So we just wanted to, we want to be good citizens and respect the concerns of the citizens of Monee and to the board of Will County that we are responsible developers. We are a renewable energy company. We're non-carbon. We're advancing energy here in Illinois. Illinois is very supportive of this endeavor. I understand that there's a new data center coming into Joliet, Will County. It's the Joliet Technology Data Center. That's a $20 billion project that's coming to the area, and they're going to have about 1.8 gigawatts of energy needs. And so by us tapping into the grid, we are helping to alleviate some of that shortage that's inevitably going to come to the Northern Illinois region with AI data centers coming into fruition across the nation. And we're doing our part to relieve some of that burden to the ratepayers in Northern Illinois. We welcome any questions. I have my engineer here, and we thank you for this opportunity to speak about our project today.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, I see some lights on. Member O'Gala, will start with you.
Yeah, so I just want to make a statement here to be very clear that you mentioned that you are going above and beyond what the state and the county requires. Due to the legislators in Springfield, the county cannot do anything beyond, because we certainly would. And such as your proximity to residential areas, we would always deny it. And I will be a no vote on this. because I believe that they have made wrong decisions in Springfield. Maybe we'll find out through a court case sometime. So don't throw the county in with that, because if we were able to write our county ordinances the way this board would want, we probably wouldn't match what the state of Illinois has determined. And another thing, it's very disturbing to me that, again, the legislators in Springfield has gone and said, you know what? We don't want to do all this green energy stuff, so let's get rid of nuclear, although they're allowing some now. Let's get rid of coal. Let's get rid of our natural gas and everything. And these companies have moved out of state because of bad decisions, because they want to go green. We find ourselves in this situation where we could have an energy crisis. Illinois never had an energy crisis prior to this decision that they've made in Springfield. So I'm hoping that, legislators change in Springfield, and therefore we might have a different outcome to this. So due to the proximity that you have to the Meadowview Air Park, Meadow Creek, sorry, and it is just too close to that. And I have a couple of friends who fly, and they're very concerned about the impact of the heat off these solars for the small planes. They say it's much different for them flying in glare versus a big plane. So I just can't support this project. And I have never had come before us a project that was right next to an air park. So I would hate to support something that I have no information on besides what the FAA provided here. And I'm not sure the complete details of that, because I've never had the FAA come and explain any of that information to me, and I'm not an expert on it. So.
Can I respond?
Yeah, please.
The FAA had requested exact longitude, latitude, coordinates of the project and the location of the solar and the direction of the panels. And based on their, however many years that they've been looking at this determination, they said that it has no hazardous effects on flight. And I have the determination of no hazard to air navigation letter right here, if you would like to review it. It's in the packet that I believe Margaret had given out, but I have it right here if you'd like to review it. But okay.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead and just stay here. I'm going to invite some other people up to talk, but there's a good chance we'll need you to come back.
Any other questions?
Not this time.
Okay, thank you.
Was your question for the applicant? Oh, sorry. Member Balich?
Yeah, I read a bunch of stuff about this. I'm not no engineer or anything like that, but I have a question here. They mentioned insurance, and we have to worry about a hardship on the county now, not on the people's notice, so to speak. They're going to have hardships too, but when so close to the airport, if an airplane crashes and then the county gets sued and it hits a house, how much money is that going to cost if they kill two or three people in the house? If it blows up and gets two houses, so is your insurance around $100 million worth of coverage? Because that's probably what we need for insurance to cover the possibility of damaging the county. So that's a hardship for the county.
So what you're asking is if a plane were to crash into a residential area that has an airfield for their residents, would we be responsible?
Let's put it like this. If there was an accident like that.
Yes.
The county would get sued.
Why would the county get
They
sued?
sue everybody. They sue the guy that owns the land. They sue the airport. They sue everybody. So we would be liable for some portion of a lot of money. So I'm just asking you, is your insurance, because we heard you get insurance, well, is it around $100 million? Because in my mind, that's what we would need, $100 million if it was a real bad thing. We don't know.
I'm not sure.
And
let me interrupt. I'm sorry. Can you just tell us what your insurance covers? I think that's the question.
Our insurance covers any natural disasters that happen to the project itself. It covers if someone were to come in and get injured on our facility. As far as a disaster of this nature, I mean, the courts would have to determine, and the FAA would have to be liable also because they have given us a no hazard determination on our project in the area. So it's hard for me to answer that question, but we have enough insurance to cover anything that would arise under normal business circumstances. You're asking a hypothetical. Has there been any crashes in the area that you know of, that you can cite, that's happened?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If we need
intervene.
that, we'll be happy to get additional insurance if you feel that it's necessary
I don't want
to
to get us off
satisfy
track,
the
but
state.
hold on. I'm sorry. This is, I think what we need to vote on is if you think that planes might be crashing if we allow this, then I don't think any amount of money makes it okay. So like that's how we need to look at this. If you don't think that it's safe for airplanes and there's an airfield there, then you should probably vote no on this.
Well,
I don't think
you have to
insurance
be-
coverage necessarily matters. I don't want to, spend the
I
rest of the
get what
afternoon
you're
talking-
saying, but when you have solar panels, there could be a glare that hits the airplane guy, the pilot.
Right.
And boom, or there's a wind draft from the solar, and then you got another problem. I mean, you got the FAA saying one thing, but what happened, there's always it's called an accident. And the county will be sued.
So I hear you, and maybe that's a good reason to be a no on this. I'm not
Right.
telling you how to
I-
vote.
but I'm
but
just asking.
I don't want to spend the rest of the morning
Okay.
talking about insurance coverage on a hypothetical.
Yeah, the FAA is determined with their professional staff, and they have in major airports and regional airports, solar plants, solar farms on their land, okay, with airports, large airports and small airports. And they've determined that it's not a risk. This updraft on heat from the solar, there's no such thing. This is a hypothetical. I'd be happy to see any cited reports that you have in regards to that. I've never heard of it. My engineer's never heard of it. Nobody's ever heard of it. And we looked into it. There's no cited cases. I think this is a red herring to make people scared about a solar project that is beneficial not only to the community, but to the general, the world in general. I mean, this is clean energy. We're doing our part. Will County is bringing in a $20 billion technology center that's going to be using 1.8 gigawatts of energy. Where's that energy going to come from? We're doing our part. We're responsible neighbors. We want to make sure that the residents of Meadow Creek are happy. We will put up the vegetation, the berms, the fencing, the safety issues. There will be no noise. There will be no lights. It will be like as if it's not there, other than the construction that will be for a short period of time. And we will be respectful of that also. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Okay, I do want to open it up to members of the public that are here to speak on this case. You guys may be invited to come back. If you're here to talk on this case, please come on down. Good morning and welcome. Please
Yes.
introduce yourself.
It's almost good afternoon. My name is Sam Roth. I'm at 6828 Drawley Road. I've been an A&P mechanic since 1989. I've got 8 years of military and 10 years of American Airlines experience in the aviation industry. I've also been flying since I was 4 years old. Small general aviation, all the way up to very large, heavy aircraft. Who here has flown? Has anybody flown? 737, 767, 777. These are all minimum of 170,000 pound aircraft. And yes, there are solar panels around the large regional airports or the large international airports. So I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of an experiment in your mind here. Take a piece of tissue paper, which is very similar to a small general aviation airplane like a Cessna, which is 2,500 pounds, and blow a little bit of air onto it. Moves pretty easily. Now take a very large piece of cardboard, which is like your 170,000 pound aircraft coming in for a landing, and blow on it with the same pressure. That board does not move. So what we got here is a situation that a Aircraft, large commercial aircraft is landing at 150 miles per hour. Small general aviation airplane is landing at about 65 miles per hour. There is a proven fact that there is a thermal plume that rises above a solar panel area of this size. It doesn't have to be much, but it's just enough to create a situation where if you have a small aircraft coming in for a landing, and this solar field is within 800 feet of this threshold of this airport, you can have an amateur pilot coming in for a landing. It's already at minimal speed to maintain height, but it's coming in for a landing. If it hits the solar plume, it's going to have a little bit of lift. It's all it takes, just a little bit of lift. As soon as it exits that solar plume and it's coming in for a landing, that plane can be affected dramatically and have a 10, 15, 20-foot drop immediately. When that happens, an amateur pilot's first instinct is to pull back on that stick. He's already at minimal speed, so if you pull back on that stick and don't have the instinct or the experience to push forward on the throttle at the same time, that plane will stall in one direction or the other depending on the torque of the engine. When that happens, there are houses within 75 to 80 feet on either side of this runway. What do you think is going to happen? Meadow Creek's runway is only 40 feet wide. The airports that they're referencing, their runways are 150 feet wide, 7,000 feet long. Meadow Creek's is only 3,500 feet. There are no landing aids at Meadow Creek, so it's up to the experience of the pilot, whether they have minimal or maximum experience. Meadow Creek is used by a wide array of pilots and aircraft, no landing aids. As I stated, only experience of the pilots. When questioned who may be liable, the property owner or the solar company, the engineering rep on the last meeting, his comment was, that's what liability insurance is for. That's great. If there's a loss, here's a check, Mr. and Mrs. Such and Such. Does that bring back the person or replace the property? No. If there is a wind coming from the west, a dome of heated air will cross right over the threshold of this runway. I'm not making this up. I have flown since I was 4 years old. I know what a small aircraft can experience. So you go ahead. You know, this isn't about left or right politics. This is about safety. And I'm not going to say that I'm not for solar because I drive an electric car, but there's all kinds of property along I-57 that has great access to ComEd that they can tie into, not right smack in the middle of a residential agriculture area that has an airport within 800 feet. I'm also going to ask, what if you have an aircraft that's coming in and there's an engine out situation? Now this aircraft doesn't have the ability to have the power to take off again. There could be a bird strike. Any number of things can cause a disaster. I do believe this will be the largest solar farm in such close proximity yet. So there are no known incidents supporting or contesting the safety of a solar farm this close. I don't think it's a good idea to put it to a test, at least not in this situation. Now about reflections. Yes, these solar panels will have a coating, but there's always the possibility of something going wrong. It takes a pilot's vision several seconds, sometimes up to 2 minutes, to recover from a sudden reflection. I've seen an airplane crash. I've been involved in airplane crash investigations, having been in the Air Force. It's nothing that you look forward to going to and seeing. Speaking of insurance, I'm an agent with Erie Insurance. I've got a letter from Erie stating, and I quote, due to the location of the exposure and its nearby location of the runway, we would not be able to offer any type of liability insurance due to this type of exposure. This is a very large commercial insurance company. I don't know if their insurance company has been made aware of how close they're going to be to an airport of this nature. But I'm going to make sure. I've been reaching out to every insurance company that I do business with through brokers to inform them of exactly what's going on. So If anybody else is looking to build a solar farm in this area, hopefully underwriting at these companies will have an understanding of exactly what they're dealing with, because I don't think they know. It's frustrating. You know, I just own a vacant piece of property, so I'm not here on any political side. I'm just here to fight for safety. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Butler.
So on like a 747, those things almost can land themselves, right? I heard they can actually land them from a tower.
I am Cat 3 certified, which means the aircraft that are in service today can literally land by themselves. It's called minimums.
And not many Cessnas can land themselves, can they?
Well, it depends on the autopilot systems and the electronics, but very rarely do the pilots have that expense.
So in your neighborhood where you live, it's purely left up to that pilot. I mean, it's all physical between that pilot and that plane and that ground.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Butler. Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rick Rowe. This isn't my expertise at speaking like this, but our property butts right up against where this project's going. We walk our pup all the time, and I see these planes coming in. You see the ceiling right here? That's how low these planes are, some of them. I see them coming in like this now. Secondly is that there's you ever see the double wing? You know, the little, it's what do they call them, biplanes? There's a plane over there that is probably, if you went from here, wouldn't even probably go much more than halfway across there. It's that small. They have, in the summer, they have an outing over there. Got to be 20, 30 planes. Easy. Very neat to see. It's an open house. It's really cool. But the fly-in, yes. And, but anyway, like I said, I see them all the time. They're going to be, I mean, just probably some of the pilots over are going to be barely clearing these things, even though they're fairly, you know, the height that they are. Secondly is that there is a pipeline going through this property. And I don't understand is why are we trying to stuff this in the middle of this residential area? You go a mile down the road and there's hundreds of acres with for sale signs up right off 57. Also too is I took the time to go over by Stager and Cicero. There's a solar farm over there. And I walked, you know, because you can hear the buzzing on the meters. And out where we're at, we're very fortunate, but you literally can hear, like I say, a car on Sunday morning going down I-57, which is roughly a mile and a half away, 2 miles away. These would be right in the middle of our residential, and this buzzing, the way it's set up, it's going to be heard from these houses. I don't care what they say. But the issue here is we've been here before. There's been, you guys, very good bunch of people here. And we do appreciate all the support that you've given us in the past. Anyway, but that's all I have to say. But it's a unique situation because of the proximity, the safety to that airport. And it's just a different bird. It's a different bird than most times. If it was off 57, you wouldn't even see me. I'd be down at the bar having a beer with you. I mean, you know, so thank you.
Thank you for being here. Okay. One more. So did you have a question for him or in general? You can comment down. Welcome.
You have to, excuse me, I have before I start. My name is Badana Makaitis, and my ASN house is going to go by that solar farm. 75 feet is our end of our property when you want to start this. And the people that own it, it's not that guy sitting over there. It's 2 new people, residents that came in this year. What happened to good neighbor? Hi, I'm your neighbor. This is what we're deciding to do behind your house. Your house. Mr. Solar Company, are you going to help me pay for the difference when my property value goes down? Because who the hell wants to buy a house with a damn solar farm behind it? Why would you put it in a residential area? You got kids living on that block. Every day you got people riding their horses. On the weekend, you should see them with their buggies out there. On the weekends, they have parties out there. Not bad parties, but socializing. And you're going to put a farm out there because 2 damn new neighbors wanted that live on the other side of our complex? And would you know my neighbors don't know about this? If it's so good to have, why aren't the hell you telling us about it? So we can support you.
Please direct your comments to please don't direct to the applicant, okay?
How would you feel, sir, if that was your damn house, huh? Tell me. And your neighborhood. My wife and I picked that lot out 25 years ago because we liked the field. Our wedding was there when they were growing the corn. If they're so concerned about this field, why the hell aren't they cutting the damn grass and the weeds down? He bragged about how he's going to help Monique by paying $25,000 in taxes. Guess what? Some of my damn neighbors pay that in taxes, so you're not helping us. You're hurting us, if anything. No one's trying to say cellular farms are not good, or solar farms, I'm sorry. Put them not in a residential area. That's farmland. To put it back to what it was. I measured yesterday, like I said, we're 75 feet away. We also have 5 dogs out there. There are animals out there in that field. How do I know? Because I see them. We see the deer. We see the coyotes. We're not really happy about the coyotes, but we do see them. Mr. Engineer was talking to us last meeting. Oh, there's no damn fires. No, not from a solar panel. What happened in California that week? They're trying to say it's from a solar panel. Oh, you want to say it was from maintenance? You can say it's from maintenance. A guy fixing it, but it's still a solar panel. They say that generates heat. And what's underneath there? Is it grass? Is it hay? Is it what? What's going to? And you do. He's right. When you're in your backyard in the early morning, you do hear I-57, or you hear the kids doing on right on Ridgeland the donuts they do. You can hear all kinds of noise out there. Again, why don't they go down the street and find another area that they could put the farm on? I told you that the Meadow Creek neighbors were not all aware of what was going on in there, about this coming on, about them trying to get this land and put the solar farm there. Trying to make sure I say everything I wanted to say. When the neighbor was talking about the pilots, one thing he did forget is that a lot of the parents are very proud of their children. So they're showing them how to fly. On the weekends, you could see some of the kids flying their planes. So you do have inexperienced pilots there. And I don't know if you are aware, our streets are taxiways. So if you see a plane coming down that street, we do not have the right of way the plane does. We have to move. So we have planes going all through the neighborhood. Now, do we have a lot of planes? No. Do we have a lot of people moving in with planes? No. But we still have planes there. And you could sit there and they can tell you how, well, at the big airports, they have this, this, and that. We're not a big airport. He's correct. We are small. It's very small. And I could stand from my backyard and watch the planes land. One more wrong thing, he's right. He's going to go right into a house because it's right sitting on the runway. Last time they were asked about their insurance, Mr. Engineer didn't even know. Huh? Not going to be of us. And, you know. I just hope you could vote and put yourself in our place of what's going to happen to our property. You see what happens to it being living on the south suburbs as it is. If we moved our house anywhere up north, our house would be double the value of what we have. And now with this coming, you're going to take more. It's going to be more less than what we put in. After 25 years, you would think you get a little bit more, more value of your house than less. We're not in favor of this at all. Because I sure in the heck do not want to look at a bunch of panels. I have a neighbor that lives on top of the hill. And I said, well, they're going to build a little rural and they're going to put trees. And they were asked, are they going to put little mature trees? Are they putting trees down? He said, I don't care what kind of size trees. He said, I could walk out my front door and I could still see it. And that's not why I moved here either. It's small. This land is small. It is not a big area. Go somewhere else.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Okay. Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon. We're still in the morning. My name is Paul Brown. I'm from Kachi Energy. We're co-anchoring this project. I just want to take a few minutes, and there's a couple of things I want to address here. I understand how the homeowners feel having a solar field next to them. One important point is they won't even know it's there. If you look out their backyard, you see berm. Unless you jump over the berm, you're not going to know that there's solar panel there. That is one important thing. You will not know because it is fenced, it is protected, and it's surrounded by berm. So you literally have to take a ladder, go up 5 or 8 feet, and look over just to see the panels. Here's another important distinction I'd like to make. There's about 5,000 solar farms in the United States of America. There has never been, never in the history of this country, an airplane crash caused by solar farm. This gentleman that spoke earlier said he's an expert, he's been flying for a long time. He offered zero evidence of any crash. Ladies and gentlemen, we are using non-glare panels. These panels do not glare, nor do they offer any heat. It just doesn't happen. We want to get along with the neighbors, we want to appease them, we want to work with them, but the misinformation, it's not going to help us get anywhere. We want to build this solar farm. It's a small farm. We're backed up against 4 homes. We want to work with these people. This is currently an agricultural land. It's being used for farming. All we're asking for is a conditional use permit to change it and just put solar panels. We're not asking to go into the neighborhood and destroy it. That's not what we're here for. We're working with the neighbors. We want to be friendly with them. We want to get along with them. Having them come here and giving us misinformation and misguiding us, it's not going to get us anywhere. I just want to go back to one thing you said earlier. You said, well, you seem upset about the rules that implemented by the state. Those rules are implemented by the state because we're moving into a clean energy era. And I understand, because I sense your frustration, a lot of those rules make it easier for us to get permits for solar farms. It helps us, okay, to generate clean energy. I'm glad the coal people are gone. I'm glad the nuclear people are gone. Using clean energy benefits us all. Next year, there's probably going to be 5 million electrical cars coming on the road. Where's that energy going to come from? If we don't bring solar farms, your energy price is going to skyrocket. The federal government just taken away all the investment tax credits for solar farm. What that does, it's going to increase your electric price. Having a data center in your area, it's going to bring billions of dollars to your community, but it's also going to suck all the energy from the grid because they're a little bit early. Your infrastructure is not prepared to support 1.8 gigawatt demand. Having a small solar farm like this, it's a 9 megawatt solar farm. In one given day, we can generate 27 to 30 megawatt of electric. That can service 3,000 homes, okay? All we're asking for is to listen to us, look at what we're doing. A lot of what the neighbors say, I would say 5% of it is accurate. The other 95%, I just think for them to come up here and say these things, highly inaccurate. Again, no history of any airplane crash in the United States being caused by a solar farm. Here's the other thing. There are many airports around the world, hundreds and hundreds around the world, large solar facility that are supported those airports. And again, the FAA looked at our project and said to us, we don't see a negative impact, so you're free to go. I want to thank you for your time.
No, thank you. Real quick, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You might not be the one to ask, but why was this specific site selected for this project?
Because of the proximity to the grid and getting on the grid and what the, we can tap into the grid fairly easy from here.
Yeah.
It's an area where there's not many homes. There's a big subdivision up the street with the airport, right? There's a few homes in the back of the farm, right? But for this area, our interconnection is feasible, okay, to tap into the grid, okay? I just want you to hear from the landowner, okay, who we've leased the property from. Just a few minutes, all right?
Okay, give me.
I have
give me
a
a second. We do have a couple questions.
Yes,
Member Ogalla,
of course.
Member Ogalla.
Yeah, so I'm just going to address some of the things you said based on my comments.
Okay.
So without the subsidies, you say that you guys would cost us more money. Well, the subsidies come from us taxpayers. So to me, it's really a wash, okay? And as far as what I read in the FAA, it looks like there are assumptions made and that more analysis could be done to be specific for the reporting. So I don't see that here anywhere. Did you guys have a public hearing with the residents in Meadow Creek?
Well, what we did, was we were
did you?
required, we were not required to do that. We did what was
So you did
required.
not?
Send a letter out. Everyone is notified. Everyone is notified. So when they say that they're not notified,
So wait a
Excuse
minute,
me.
so wait a minute,
Excuse
you're
me.
notified if your property abuts to it.
within
The
certain,
people with, I know what it is, I know. So the people within the rest of the facility were not notified because you did not hold any kind of public hearing. You only did what was minimally required by the state and the county ordinances. See, that's what you did.
impacted.
And
impacted.
then here's the thing, you can argue politically, it's an issue for me, okay? You're obviously on the other side of the political spectrum than I am. And that green energy, so-called green energy, is not all green. To get all the things that you need for all the components, it comes from sources and processes that are not considered green energy. So we're never going to agree on that particular issue. I do not support
Could you be?
I
more
do not,
specific?
no, I'm not asking you for a question, I'm talking to you. I do not support the fact that you think it's perfectly fine to build this, that no one will know it's there. Everyone's gonna know it's there because they know it's coming if it gets passed, they know that. So they will know that it is there. And I am a firm believer that we should not have any solar close to residences. And I'll tell you another thing. I visited the Aroma Park solar facility and I saw the complete drone of the impact of the huge solar facility in Wheatland, Indiana, when that EF3 came through. Those solar fields are still damaged. There's stuff still absolutely everywhere. So maybe insurance will cover it, but as of right now, 4 months later, there hasn't been anything done to fix that. So you can't prove to me that that would have any other kind of an impact should your facility be hit by that. And because of the proximity to all the other residents, that's a concern to me, and I'm definitely a no vote.
I understand.
Now, I'm not asking you any
understand.
questions.
Can I rebuttal?
No, I just made a comment to you. I didn't ask you a question.
I understand. I do want to rebuttal about your comment.
Go ahead.
I know the solar field you're referring to, right? All the solar panels are blown off. I could say something like maybe they weren't built properly, right? Some counties say you have to anchor these things to withstand gale force wind. Maybe that wasn't the case over there. In our project, because we care and because of the money that we invested, we're anchored properly. We make sure we follow all the rules. I'm sorry about the subsidies. It's being gone, it's just going to make the electric rate higher. We are a plus to be here. I just want to leave it like that.
Thank you. Member Mitchell?
Opinion.
You have a question?
I don't have any questions. I just have statements. One is, you said it wasn't caused, you said there were accidents not caused by solar panels, but there are accidents caused by glare. So it could be solar panels, it could be a watch, it could be a mirror. I don't know what it's caused by, but there are aviation accidents caused by glare. And so because of the proximity to an aviation facility or a community, it might not be the best thing. And we're not talking about like huge planes that are, these planes, I fly a lot. These planes today practically fly themselves. I don't even know what they're doing in the cockpit. They're just doing their own thing. But for the smaller pilots that require to be manned, this might be an issue. That's one thing. Another thing is that you started off by saying that you are trying to be a good neighbor. I'm going to tell you, and this is always my issue with any commercial, whatever, going into a community that is not that you really have to sell them on it. You do not sell them on it by starting off with, oh, they're giving misinformation. You didn't have a meeting with the community. You did nothing to familiarize and ameliorate yourself with the community. So I don't know how it is that you made it so that it was going to be, that you were trying to be this great neighbor. I'm just going to say that there are more things than facts that you have to go by. And there are a lot of issues. I have a lot of issues with things that you've said, but that's not the point. The point is that whenever you're trying to do a project like this, the most important thing that you need to do is really get to know the community that you're trying to do this project in and really get buy-in from the community. And if you don't do that, then whatever it is, no matter what facts you bring or money and all of that, it doesn't matter, because these people don't want this in their community. You have to be friends with them. And you don't be friends with somebody by being combative. That's the best way I can put it. So that's my advice to any company or any whatever trying to move into a community. You have to get buy-in from the community, and I don't think that you did a great job there, and it's apparent in your demeanor today.
Can I respond?
Sure, go ahead.
I want to say for the last time, like we're using non-glare panels. Non-glare panels. There are panels with glare, and these panels are non-glare, right? The other thing is, I don't think I'm being combative. It's our position that we want to make sure that you have the facts. And I understand with the neighbors, we want to get along with them, but when you've been misled, then we want to point it out. That's all it is.
You didn't meet with the neighbors. I'm sorry for being argumentative, but you haven't really, have you met with the neighbor? Has there been any evidence where they've actually sat down with them and talked with them? I haven't seen that. That's a problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have any other public comments today on the CS? Member Butler, oh, sorry, before you go, we do have
Go ahead, please.
one more question for you.
So I will concede to you your statistics on accidents caused by glare.
Yeah.
But this is a new industry.
Yeah.
And it's just rapidly expanding across the country in just the recent years. So not a lot of study has been done on it. But we can't assume with glare there will come problems. I know you said no glare, but I believe what you meant was reduced glare. Because that's what it is.
Okay.
And as far as, and I get it, and I understand you did exactly what was required by the permits or to get this, project started. And you don't have to meet with them. You don't have to get any agreements with them because the state said that we're just gonna let this happen. And we get it. We know, we've been fighting it. Trust me, we all know. We knew what was coming. We know every step of the way. And sometimes when you talk though, you gotta be careful, because when you talk about how it's gonna benefit us, one of the things that bothered me the most is I didn't see it. I didn't see the benefit. You get federal subsidies?
Not in this project, no.
No, you don't use
It's gone.
American Steel?
It's gone.
You don't use,
Like, it's,
because do you use American Steel?
we get credit if we use domestic content. However.
Right, okay,
however,
okay.
July 4th.
Just let me finish, because that is like, it's a credit, it's like a subsidy, okay? Do you get state subsidies?
No.
Do you get utility subsidies though?
Yes.
Right, and I know that because every time I look at my electric bill, I could see what I'm paying out for these solar panels. So you gotta be careful when you make statements like that, because some people pay attention.
Well, Okay.
Thank you, Member
All right.
Butler. Member Ogala, did you have a question or?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Looks like we have another comment
I
here.
wanted to make a comment.
Go ahead.
So as Member Butler put out that he's using non-glare. So non-glare solar panels can produce some glare, although it is usually minimal. Modern panels feature anti-reflective coatings, textures, and causing them to reflect less glare than the standard glass. But they still do have glare. So depending upon when a plane is coming in and what angle the sun is hitting and all of that, there's potential for that to happen. And I cannot vote for something that has a potential to impact somebody who's flying into an airport surrounded by homes. So I just think that it's the wrong location.
Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hassan. I'm representing Fatima and Corey Callahan, and they are the ones who own the piece of land. And Fatima and Corey live themselves in Meadow Creek, so they are not living far away from where that is. Two, they bought the house over there because it has a hangar, and they'll be buying plane because they are expanding their business and they have to fly left and right. So why will be they doing something which will harm them flying back and forth themselves? And if a little bit of heat wave is going to bring the planes crashing down, what is the pilot going to do when he's in the air and he's facing the turbulence? That means he's not good enough to fly. So this is basically a story so that this does not get approved. And I myself bought the house in Moni last year. I have not moved in yet. As soon as I bought the house, the taxes used to be $22,000 a year. Now they are $28,000 after I moved in, a 25% increase in taxes. Somebody has to control something. And I'm surprised that we are talking and so much about getting solar and it's not benefiting. How is it not benefiting? The data center that you approved is going to suck all your electricity out, and you're going to find out later how much your bills are going to go up. Why did you approve a data center? What does that data center do for you? Nothing. It just stores your information. They're going to use that information against you, and that gets approved, and a solar farm that's going to help us bring natural electricity to us. It's not going to cost us any money or any kind of any danger, and we are trying to deny that. I mean, there's really no grounds for doing this except that people just don't want. I will not buy the house in Moni if I felt that this is going to reduce my property value. I bought it last year myself. I moved to Maui, and my daughter is living there. Why will the values go down? There is no reason to go down. You're just afraid. Fear is not going to do nothing. We have to face it. You have any questions?
Thank you. Member Ogala, your light is on. Did you have a question?
So I don't have a question. I just want to let you know that the Will County Board did not approve a data center.
Yes.
The city of Joliet did. So you guys have said that multiple times. We have not approved a data center. That was out of our control. We could not vote yes or no for the data center.
No, this is wrong. All the residents have the power to stop everything they can.
No, that's not how that works.
Okay?
The residents in Joliet turned out by the hundreds in opposition to the data center, and yet the city of Joliet still approved it. So they did not have that ability to do that. And I am a farmer. And so when the state of Illinois legislators in Springfield, not my political party, go ahead and say that you can take a non-agricultural use and use it for something else when it's zoned A1, I don't agree with that. Why do we have any zoning at all? Why do we have a zoning process at all for any type of our communities if we're then going to override it by saying, hey, you know what? Yes, this is zoned A1, but we're going to allow this one type of use, solar, which is not agricultural, to be used on agricultural land. I don't support that. That's why we have zoning. You heard all our arguments about zoning earlier today for other projects. And the zoning is there for a reason. So to me, an agricultural zone property should contain agricultural type uses. an industrial type use such as solar should be in an industrial area specific for solar. So that is my opinion, and I don't think anyone can change that opinion because that is what I believe. I understand that you guys would like it. I received letters regarding solar, and they said, hey, would you guys like to lease your property to us or pay, or we would like to purchase it? So leasing, usually a farmer gets $200 to $300 an acre in our area to lease an acre of land. One company offered us $4,000 an acre. Another company offered us $3,800 an acre to lease our property. They both offered us $40,000 an acre to purchase it. So you can see why, I understand why a landowner would be very interested in making a deal with solar. Again, I don't believe the philosophy of putting a non-agricultural use on A1 property is right. I think the Springfield is wrong. I'm looking forward to the outcome of several lawsuits to find out whether we are going to be able to win this case, because I just think it's wrong. It's wrong to go ahead and give one type of company, a solar facility, out carte blanche to put their solar anywhere they like. And I understand the state of Illinois is one of those blue states that allows it because we support green energy. We can support green energy, but it has to be in the right place. And our board, everyone here should have the right to support where it goes or deny where it goes. I'll never give up that thought. That's why I ran for office, to represent the people.
No. Look, your thoughts are in the right direction. However, you need to look at the benefits and the losses of things. If the farmland is going to be used for anything else, or is it going to be forever farmland? So you should not be building roads or homes or anything at all.
So
That
I
should be
do
left up
I
to
do
you.
look at it. I do look at it. I do look at the fact that when solar is built, that there will be construction jobs to build it.
No.
And after that, there are no jobs. There are no jobs. But I do know that when we have less agricultural products being produced on agricultural land, there will be a negative impact to the revenues and jobs that follow the entire ag food chain, from the time of the inputs to put on the property to the outputs. You will see a loss. We don't know what that loss is today, but we will see a loss. So I am done having this conversation. Thank you.
I'm gonna cut it off. We're a little bit off the rails. I want to reel it back in. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. This is a different conversation. We're actually just here to talk about this one case. So I just
Okay.
want to be focused on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Are there any new comments that okay. No, I'm sorry. We have to end it. You did have the opportunity to speak for a while. Thank you. Dan,
Just
we're
before
gonna,
you vote, I just wanted to clarify something. The data center, the 800 acre data center would require 25,000 acres of solar panels to cover that footprint. So when we talk about that, let's keep into perspective the amount of land that solar would need to really balance the infrastructure needed. It's
agree with
not, doesn't work for us. It's not going to be profitable.
thank you for your comment. Okay, I think we're ready to vote on this one.
Sherry Newquist,
Yes.
Herbert Brooks. Don Bullock. Raquel Mitchell. Judy Ogala. Destiny Ortiz. Chairman Frankie Pretzel.
No.
Okay, 3-4, fails.
Okay, motion fails. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week at the full board meeting. Next on the agenda is zoning case ZC 26036. Requesting a special use permit for a firearms dealership business as a home occupation in Shanahan Township, 25734 West Hickory Court in Manuka, County Board District Number 1. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Motion Newquist.
Second Ortiz.
Okay, a motion and a second. And Alec, just give us a little more information on this one.
Yeah, so as you said, this is zone case 26036. It takes place in Shanahan Township. The address is 25734 West Hickory Court in Manuka, Illinois. The property is zoned R3 and is 21,408 square feet in size, is deemed a conforming R3 parcel. The applicant is proposing running a firearm dealership as a home occupation. According to the applicant, the business will be open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends. Customers are only on the site by appointment only, and the estimated daily vehicle trips is 1 from the site. Section 155-10.10D of the zoning ordinance outlines home occupation regulations that the business will need to adhere to, such as no outdoor storage and no visual evidence of the content of the home occupation when viewed from the street or right away or from adjacent lot. The Plan and Zoning Commission voted 7-0, thereby recommending approval of the special use permit with 7 conditions listed by staff, and staff did not receive any letters of opposition to the special use, and no one spoke against it at the PZC meeting.
All right. Thank you for that. Is the applicant here today? I invite you to the microphone here. Thank you for being here. It's a new one for me. So give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about the business.
My name is Jeff Carpenter. I run a firearms business. I've been running it for 6 years out of my house in Lombard. Everything is custom ammunition. I do have transfers that do come in. I do gunsmithing on the side, and that's really about it. I mean, it's very simple. I have alarm system, cameras, all firearms go in gun safes. Everything's logged in. I do have annual inspections by the ATF and state police. They come and do an annual inspection. I abide by all the rules. It's really cut and dry.
I like it. When I first read this today, I thought that's odd that this is out of a home. And then I realized I've actually been to one of these homes. So it sounds like I don't want to insult your business, but it's pretty small. Like you're 500 bullets a year, I read, or
About 500 bullets a month. Yeah, a month. And they're all custom. Some per target. I have a couple of people that do open competitions. I do make some for myself and test them. There's a couple of places I do go shooting that are outdoors, a couple that are indoors. Everything is done primarily by the book.
and by appointment only, one person at a time, or maybe like.
But yeah, sometimes there might be 2. It's, I might have, some weeks I might have nobody. A couple weeks, I might have 3 or 4 people, but I just do it when it's convenient for them and me. They're usually in my house for maybe 20 minutes to fill out the paperwork, do the background check, and then they're off with their firearm.
Good deal. Okay. Any questions from the comedians?
I have.
Member Brooks.
This is in the village. Are you located within the jurisdiction of the village of Minooka, or is this unincorporated?
It's unincorporated. I do believe I'm in Shanahan district.
So if there was a problem, who would be responding? Police, would that be the Will County Sheriff?
That would be the
It
Will
would
County
be?
Sheriff's, correct.
Okay.
But I do believe that Shanahan and Minooka are within 1.2 to 1.4 miles away. So they might refer them to them if they would get there quicker.
Okay, thank you.
I'm guessing he's gonna be able to take care of
Yeah.
anything that needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you had in your Lombard office or house or wherever it was, everything go smoothly there?
Yes, I haven't
Had
had
no issues?
no issues one bit. I've had 3 inspections from the state police. I was in compliance all 3 times. My inventory is, spot on. Pretty much, firearm comes in, within 3 days, the firearm goes out. I think at the most I've had a firearm in my possession for more than a week. And that was just scheduling issues between the customer and me. I held it for him. I have a specific safe just for incoming firearms that get locked up on a daily basis. And then my personal firearms are obviously locked up. My ammunition and my reloading equipment are all in special containers, away from spark and everything like that. So yeah, no issues. It's kind of like Avon. Yeah.
He drives a pink car and everything. That's Mary Kay. I drive a pink car, so no judgment. Any other questions from the committee? Any questions before we vote on this one? Okay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Are there, sorry, go ahead. Chair.
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment? I will say, I do have acquaintances that actually practice this type of business at home without permission, I would say, and it seems like this gentleman here is on the up and up. I know there is a concern of probably being in a homestead, but it does happen, and it sounds like he's inspected and is actually trying to do the right thing. I don't have a comment on what will happen next week, but I enjoy the conversation and see how the committee will vote. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other? Oh, go ahead.
I do have a comment. I just want to say, I am not a gun person. I do not like them. Don't see myself ever owning one. And I will not tell you where I live. But what I also understand is that I am here to make sure that whatever you come searching for, a special use permit, whatever, that you are following the guidelines that we put out, regardless of how I feel about guns. And I will tell you, when I read this, I did go, huh, interesting concept. But again, my personal opinion and my personal beliefs cannot go ahead of what you've done and what you've put in place before. And so surprisingly to myself, I will be voting yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anyone here from the public on this one? Last chance. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you. We're ready to vote?
Sherry Newquist,
Yes.
Herbert Brooks. Don Bullock. Raquel Mitchell. Judy Ogala. Destiny Ortiz. Chairman Frankie Pretzel.
Yes.
Passes.
All right. Congrats again. Good luck. All right. On to other business. Just one item today. A proposed text amendments from the Clean and Reliable Grid Act. Energy storage facilities, commercial storage, commercial solar energy facilities, commercial wind energy facilities, common provisions, special use permits, definitions, land use fee schedule, and building fee schedule. Colin?
Well, where we left it last month was with regard to how the applications are received. And it was Brian that did most of the legwork on that this past month. So I will turn it over to him to explain what he has done with the memo that has been provided to you.
All right, good afternoon, members of the Land Use and Development Committee. At the last meeting in June, there was a request to have staff prepare some language outside of the changes that are required by the state. So this is a separate a separate text amendment outside of those changes. And it pertained to how the department would process special use permit requests for solar facilities. Before 2022, the department processed all special uses as one application only in the instance where they were contiguous properties. And then after a lengthy ordinance update process, the board decided to change that in September 2022 and allow solar farms to be processed as one facility for both contiguous and non-contiguous properties. So there was some discussion here at the committee, and you asked the staff to come back this month and prepare some language to go back to the way the ordinance read before. And that language is included in this memo. I did provide two options in there. One option would be to only allow solar facility applications as one application when they are contiguous property. And then the other option would be to allow one solar application, but require separate special use permits for each grouping of contiguous properties. So the one scenario is one zoning case only for contiguous property. If there were several parcels, but they weren't contiguous, they would need another zoning case, and that group of contiguous properties could be together. Or allow one zoning case with requiring a separate special use permit for each group of contiguous properties. So those two text amendment drafts are before you, and if you happen to would like to talk about this and determine if this language is appropriate, we could do that now, and then we could move to public hearing along with the other language that's related to what's required under the state statute.
So I have a question to start us off. Believe it or not, our goal wasn't to just give land use staff more work to do. It really was to collect more fees from the applicants. So do we collect the fee based on the special use permit or based on the, like, your two options?
Yeah,
Are they
so-
equal for us?
So I believe that both option would allow the collection of the same fee as drafted. So whether it was one special use or one zoning application with multiple special use, each special use would be assessed the fees based on whatever the adopted fees will be through this text amendment. Whether that was one zoning application or multiple zoning applications, the actual fee collected should be the same in both scenarios. The difference is that the applicant would be able to submit one package application for the whole facility and thereby not require, we would do notice for one zoning application, but each special use permit would have its own set of requirements.
So what I'd like to accomplish here, obviously, is maximize how much money we can bring in from these large companies coming to the county and taking up our valuable farmland. But two, we look at these two Earthrise projects we just had. If you go by averages on solar cases that we've heard as a board, we would have, if they were individual applications based on parcel, we probably would have approved 9 out of 10 of them. But 10% of those bad ones, we would have said no to, and I'd be willing to bet you they would have just let it go. But instead, we're left with this giant turd on Will County, and there's nothing we can do about it. So shame on us. We should have done this a long time ago, and I think that we legally can, even with the way that the statute's written. So
we have to vote per option.
yeah, it would come to us as individual applications. Oh, for this?
So with what you've given us, are we saying are we voting like which option we want? Or is
Yeah,
it two
that's how-
votes, or how do you want to do this?
Well, the language is drafted, at the direction of this committee, so to prepare something. So whatever the committee decides is the appropriate language they'd like to have in the zoning code for what you're trying to accomplish. Those are the two options that are there. If you do nothing, it will just remain as it is today, which will be one zoning application and one special use permit application.
You
So
guys
if you
think-
do want to change, we have two options here. Either we could go one application with, however many number of special use permits, or separate zoning applications for each special use permit.
Sorry, wait, can I, sorry, I just want to finish, and then I'm done. All right, so then in that case, I want to say that I do like the second option better. I believe it's a little clearer especially in, I don't know, what is it, B1R? So that's where I'm heading toward a second option.
Thank you.
Yep, I was going to say, I think the second option kind of meets our goal of, first of all, being able to vote on the parcels individually, and second of all, being able to maximize our fee potential without causing you guys, I can't imagine if you had to do a separate application for all, any non-contiguous, that could really be a drain on the staff, I would imagine. So I unless you think otherwise, I really do think the second option meets our objectives, so. Thank you.
So what we would need then, Chairman Pretzel, is that if this is the change that you want for this section, then you'd want to recommend that this, language be sent to public hearing for public comment.
Okay, I think still, but Leader Richmond, do you want to make a comment first?
I just have a quick question. So all things being equal, Brian, what I'm hearing you say is that the revenue portion of either one of these two proposals is about the same.
Yeah, the
For the county.
revenue would be the same because we would apply whatever yeah.
That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good enough
All
answer.
right.
Now, the backside is what about the expense side? How many signs do we have to post? How many postings do we have to do from an expense side? Not only from labor, but also from all the other minutia that has to go on with this. Which one is a better option?
Well, I mean, that's. the
Because to
signs
send
are gonna
somebody
be-
out to do, put
Yeah,
out
the
50
signs
different
are gonna be the
signs.
applicant's responsibility.
Okay, now what about posting in the newspaper, all that kind of stuff? That's all covered by them too?
Well, we handle all the posting, but, I mean, we arrange all of it, so it's still done by our office.
So I guess I'd just like to understand
It's a good
revenue versus expense side. As well as Sherry did bring up a good point about the labor side too. So let's look at it as a package so we can make the best determination from a financial perspective.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I think the second option, if you're looking at reducing impact on staff, would be the better option. And in the first option, we'd have to do notice for each zoning application. Instead of doing one notice and then listing all of the properties and all of the requests that are done.
Okay.
And we have other zoning cases where we do that, where maybe there's a map amendment and 2 special uses that go away along with it. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And then we do one post in the newspaper that has all of the information associated with that case.
Okay.
So it's already something that's being done. I don't find it to be complicated. I don't think it's going to be that huge of a burden on staff.
That's fine. I just
It
wanted to
will
make sure we look
increase
at both
maybe a
sides of the
little
coin,
bit,
that's
but
all.
Should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Member Butler.
So I'm just confused. So,
You have to talk into your mic, Dan.
okay, so now it could be non-contiguous. So on the second option, how is that different than what is now?
Right now, it's one application, one special use permit.
Right.
It's meander all over the county.
Right, and isn't that non-contiguous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so option 2 was, repeat that again?
It's just one application, but multiple special use permits.
For multiple special, that are non-contiguous.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so the special use permits will all be treated differently?
You will vote on each one. You'll have to vote on each group of whatever contiguous.
Each
group.
special use permit or the grouping of them?
Yeah, I mean, so let's look at it this way. Let's just say we had a major solar farm facility and it had 50 groupings of contiguous property. You'd have to vote 50 times. So if there was some properties that maybe you felt weren't appropriate, you could deny the special use for that property. But you would still, you have to keep going down the list of, 50 requests.
So the permit fees are based on, are they based on the special use permit? Or are they based on the permit for construction? What are we talking here?
They're based on special use permits. So the county has, under the current fee schedule, the more acreage you have in a project, the lower price, the lower the price goes. But in this case, each special use would start with whatever the base number is. And this is under the current fee schedule because you're about ready to consider a change. But each special use would be whatever the maximum you could be charged per megawatt that is on that grouping of special uses or that grouping of contiguous property. I know it sounds very complicated, but it's, like today, let's just say, for example, if 1,000 acres of property was, you know, a $10,000 request, and somebody came, that would be under today's, because the more acreage you have, the lower the cost goes. But under the new way, which you're kind of going to consider here in just a little bit, it's going to be based on megawatts. And you can only, under the state law, you can only take so much money per megawatt. So for each special use, you would take probably, I'm assuming each group of contiguous property would be to the maximum of what you could do per megawatts. So that's controlled by the new state statute. They have a cap on how much you can take. But you would do it for each special use. So you try and get the max on each special use. That's what you're trying to do.
So then on the second way, that allows us to have more fees to cover our costs,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Erica, go ahead.
So Brian had just brought it up, and I had spoken to Rick Porter from Hinshaw that was redoing everything, because I wanted to make sure Matt and I were coming from the same point. You are capped at 5,000 megawatt fees for special use permit. And it's for an energy facility, not a particular parcel. And the max you can charge is 125,000. So if the whole energy facility was, say, 50 megawatts, you'd be capped at, 50 times 5,000. So it's for the energy facility. They actually define it in the statute as energy facility. So you'd be capped at a certain amount. And when, we spoke after land use briefly about doing this, and when Brian and them were talking to other counties and proposing this, I was just talking, because we just want to make sure you're aware, to Rick, about this. He did indicate, and there is no statutory restriction that you cannot do this. Absolutely. There's no law or anything. He thought, as I was thinking when I was talking to Matt, there could be a potential, and this is all hypothetical, if you were hearing, like with Earthrise, 95 different SUP applications and deciding on them, and you denied only 10 of them, right? Because certain residents were in that area that they thought it would be affecting more. He said it could affect that possibly you would be denying their solar energy facility because you're denying certain parcels, which they were using to interconnect, which could cause a problem and then be sued. But there is nothing in the statutes that we could find, any case law that would prohibit you from doing this. And we just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. I think we're on the right track.
Right, should I make a motion? No, I would like to make a comment. So the difference with going with the second option is that they would have to come for a special use permit for each contiguous grouping. And obviously the 6,000 acres and the 2,400 acres in Crete, they would have to come. And we would be able to say no to one of the special use permits. I don't know if Springfield really thought the whole thing of how we do our zoning. I'm not sure that they did, to say, hey, you know what? Facility could be comprised of multiple special use permits or not. I don't think that they thought that. I think that's kind of an open and vague thing. But I do know, and having had conversations with Earthrise, is that they chose, they had a lot of parcels under possible lease or potential to sell, a lot. And they chose the parcels that best fit their grid. So if they knew they had to face something like this, and my parcel is more cohesive to their grid pattern than Raquel's, then they would choose, and so they chose mine. But if they knew they had to look at this, then maybe they would choose Raquel's so that they didn't have to have one of their special use permits denied. So there is a possibility that going under this new change, that perhaps they do a better job themselves at looking at the properties that are available to them, where there might be more contention versus less contention, and therefore just drop these where they would, and come to us with better groupings. So maybe they would choose, let's say this air park one was part of the Earthrise, maybe they would look at that and say, wow, we're not going to choose that particular facility because it's right next to this air park. It's next to all this residential. We're going to go over here and choose this other one, which is on a 200-acre parcel near nobody or maybe one neighbor, which possibly is just the landowner's home. So you have, I think you give them the ability to make a better decision for our county versus just say, hey, yeah, one SUP, go and have it. And like I said, again, the argument has never been made as to what constitutes the facility. Is it really just in, non-congruous, contiguous parcels? Is that a facility? Because if you look at all the other energy facilities, they're all contiguous. If you look at the petroleum ones, if you look at coal, they don't have them scattered all around. So I think that would be an argument that could be made. And I don't think that Springfield thought that through when they wrote this. They just wrote it because they just whipped up some stuff. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more? I see member Trainier.
Mine was, I guess, more of a comment than a question, because I think Erica kind of explained it, but I know like in the assessing process, that is how they determine what the value of a place like a Citgo and Exxon and Excel, any of the big corporations that produce energy or petroleum products. They do it based on the number of gallons produced or the number of barrels, the number of megawatts, kilowatts, whatever watts they are. So I think it makes sense that we are looking at it in the same way. And I'm really glad to hear that Springfield didn't step on our toes for that
Not
yet.
yet.
Can we wipe this meeting off the face of the earth so they don't get any weird ideas?
Good call. Okay, we have a motion. You want to make that?
I'll make a motion that we go to public hearing for option number 2.
Second, O'Gara.
Second, O'Gala.
Would this be for August 4th, public hearing? That's the date I have. Just so you know, when you're making the
Is that-
motion, it's for August 4th, public hearing.
Brian, does that work?
Thank you.
Yes, for August 4th.
Yeah, I mean, we'll try to get it published for that meeting.
If not, we'll go to
Could
September.
be.
Do we have? to
Because
discuss
Collins, it should go probably at the same time that the rest of the amendments go.
Okay, fair enough.
it? So I'll just make a motion then that we have language added.
Get on your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a question.
I'll just make a motion that we have language added, incorporating option 2 into the current amendments that we're working on.
Sounds good. And then we have a second
Second, O'Gara.
previous roll.
No, we can't do a previous roll, I don't think.
Previous Ortiz?
It was the gun one.
Oh,
we
yeah,
already had.
that's right.
We could do. Or
Yes.
previous.
It's at the, yeah,
Okay.
at Army. We have a preview at land use.
Out at this.
No, last one was 7-0.
No, we're just asking them to add the language to the amendment.
No, I get that. I just want to know, with this open hearing, is open hearing here or open hearing?
Planning and
PCC?
zoning.
It's planning and zoning committee. Okay. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
we have a previous roll
We have a second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
But that was for the adding of the language. Now I need a motion to move it to the public hearing.
Yep.
I'll second it, Mitchell.
Motion second,
Previous roll. new
previous, second Brooks, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good stuff, good stuff. So nice to have the full board here for this one today. All right. Reports, communications, correspondence. Do we have anything from you, Director? Okay,
I know I'll make them quick.
that's all right.
I know going 7 months into the year, just really busy, particularly, committee and county board with the zoning cases, but not just, also in our department. And I just wanted to, compliment the department staff for the work that they've done in support of the board and the committees and the commission. And the way, not just with, development services staff with their admin, but just in the department with code enforcement, I mean, R&E and community development.
Staff really acts in a professional manner and, always very high, professional manner, ethically, and always doing their best to provide, the board members and the committees information to make informed decisions. And so, it's not often that they get compliments, and I just want to make sure that, people recognize that, the hard work that they do, and just, the way that they act in a professional manner. So, thank you.
Thank you. Nice job, guys. Okay. I don't have any comments. Any comments from committee members? Okay. Any last public comments? Nobody's still here? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn. Second Ortiz, all in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Next meeting is August 6th. Thanks, everybody.
I like that.
Executive committee will start 5 minutes after 1.